welcome everybody. Just a quick reminder, you are on mute. That's to help us to just go through the presentation. But if you have any questions, we want to invite you to put them in the chat and just ask your questions as we're going through the presentation. We will have a question and answer time at the end of this presentation. And just so you know, everybody who is attending today will get a free application waiver. How that works is at the end of this presentation, we are going to record this. So if you have questions or if you miss something, you don't have to write anything down. We'll send out a recording of this presentation after the presentation ends with your application fee waiver code in that email. So once this presentation is done, give us a little bit of time to, record it and send out that email, and you'll get that application fee waiver code and a link to the webinar recording. So thank you again for joining us. We are Troy University, and let's get started. So I do want to introduce us and what we're going to do today. So first, we're going to talk about who we are and the 10 tips to applying to the university. Then we're going to cover some upcoming events, and we're going to answer your questions. So let's get started. So first of all, if you haven't met me already, I know some of you have had meetings with me and have received emails from me, but my name is Claire Humphreys. You'll probably receive emails from me as Nancy Claire Humphreys, but I do go by Claire. I'm not two different people, I promise. But I cover the areas of Asia minus India, Africa, and the Oceania regions. And I am a recruiter here at Troy University. So it's very nice to meet you.
Hi everyone, my name is Leandro Suero. I'm also a recruiter here at Troy. I cover the areas of the Americas, North America, South America, Central America, and also Europe and the MENA region. And we also have another recruiter who covers the region of India, like the whole country. Her name is Anandita Halder. Unfortunately, she cannot be here with us today. But if you're a student who's currently located in India, Anandita will be your point of contact for Troy.
And cool fact about Anandita, she actually lives in India. So if you are in India, she can meet with you. She can help you with the visa process. We can do the same, but we just, for our students that are in our regions, we don't live in those regions. We happen to travel to those regions, but we don't live in those regions. We live in and around Troy. So that's a little bit different for her, but she's in the country. So she is a quick, easy access for y'all. So let's go ahead and get started.
Okay, so I think this is a good general advice for even if you decide to apply to any university, not only Troy, do your research. So know where you're going. You want to know basic things about the place where you're going to, like weather, demographics, the location, of course. Then you want to know things like about the university in general or specific, like, for example, the majors the university has, even at the undergraduate or graduate level. Say you want to study a PhD program, and this university may not offer the program you have. For example, we currently have 3 PhD programs: sport management, PhD in nursing, and a PhD in global leadership. So if you're interested in any of these programs, yeah, you can reach out to us, and we can help you with that. We can help you with your research when it comes to that kind of information. But there's other things that you may be able to find out on your own. Again, as I said before, like places here in Troy, weather, the climate, the demographics, right? Then when you're attending or when you're planning to attend a university, also you have to see if you can afford it. So the tuition cost, the living expenses. If the university offers insurance, for example, at Troy University, there is an insurance cost that we're going to cover in a second that you have to be able to afford. Students cannot bring their own insurance, so you have to get the insurance that the university provides for us in case you have a medical emergency or something like that, right? Then the scholarships the university offers. For example, we offer a good scholarship for students that covers 50% of the tuition. That, depending on your academic level, can be between like $7,000 to about $10,000. Depending on the academic level and on the amount of credits that you're taking, right? Also, you want to learn about the visa process, and this part of the research will help you, because when you go to the visa process, and we're going to talk about the visa process through some of these slides as well, you only have a few minutes to make a compelling argument to the visa officer as to why you want to attend this university. You may apply to a few universities, but you can only attend the visa the visa interview with one I-20 from one university. So if you were admitted to 5 universities, the visa officer will ask you, why did you pick this one university in particular? So the research that you did previously will help you answer that question and again, make a compelling argument, right? As I said before, you have to make sure that you can afford, right, to study abroad. You know, universities here in the US, the prices vary like greatly in tuition and living expenses. For example, the living expenses here in the southeast of the United States is, I would say, relatively affordable compared to other places in the US, especially if you go more like up north. And also the tuition cost, again, if you qualify for that scholarship, it greatly reduced. And you can only, you will only have to pay 50% of the tuition, right? If you can qualify for that scholarship. So these are costs, what you see here on the screen. I'm sure some of you already know this information. Some of you have already submitted your application. And if you haven't submitted your application and you are brand new and you know nothing about our cost and or anything like that, you can take a screenshot of this. And again, Claire said before, we're going to email you this presentation, so you don't have to be taking notes. But very quickly, you know, the total cost to study at Troy, if you are only an ESL student, is $18,600 per year. For undergraduate, is $30,300 again per academic year. And for graduate students, it's a bit lower, it's $18,750. And if you qualify for this scholarship, the undergraduate cost will go down to about $20,000, $21,000, and the graduate cost will be again about $20,000, maybe right below $20,000. For ESL, we don't have a scholarship at the moment. The scholarship that covers 50% of the tuition is only an academic scholarship, and the ESL program is simply a language program for students who want to basically learn English, but it is not an academic program.
So the next tip that we can give you is make goals. So this is really, really important in any application process, but especially if you're learning about, attending a school, because you're going to need to learn how to make short-term goals and long-term goals. Short-term goals are really important when making an application because you kind of need to plan out your application and how long it takes to make the application. So applications can take short time to apply, but you also need to know how long it takes to gather your documents. Sometimes you actually have to, take a test, right? So we're going to talk about tests in a little bit, but if you have to take an English proficiency test or a GRE, you're going to have to schedule those out on a timeline, right? And so you're going to have to make goals and get those things accomplished in order to achieve everything on your application. So that's really important. So just because you applied to Troy University or started your application doesn't mean that we can actually review it for admission. So really important to kind of map out a short-term timeline of, okay, so I'm going to start my application here. It's going to take me maybe a little bit of time to raise $50 or even to get an application fee, right? So you're starting well because you're going to get an application fee waiver today, so that's great, but it's going to take a little bit of time to get all your supplemental items lined up because sometimes you have to go out to your school and meet with professors to get a letter of recommendation. If you're a graduate student, sometimes you have to get 3 or 4 depending on your program. Sometimes you have to have a resume, and if you haven't started one, it takes a little bit of time to put all that stuff together. So having short-term goals to get everything lined up for your application is really important, especially because once you submit your application, just to get admission, that also takes a little bit of time. It takes 7 to 14 business days for us to process an application. But then once you received admission, you also have to submit a financial statement. And if that financial statement's not in your name, you have to provide a sponsor letter. So sometimes finding a sponsor to provide financial means for you to receive the I-20 takes a little bit of time because you might not know somebody who has $30,000 in your bank account to get the I-20, right? So it takes a little bit of time to go through the application process. So having those short-term goals is really important. And then having long-term goals. Like Leo says, doing your research and knowing why going to a school is important, because you're going to have to tell that visa officer why you chose that school. They're going to ask you, well, why do you want to go to the United States? to study. And what do you want to do with that degree? Well, unless you know what your goals are for your education and your career, it's going to be really hard to answer those questions. So I always encourage students, and if you've attended any of our webinars in the past, you already know that I'm going to tell you, kind of map out your life for the next 5 and 10 years. Make a little timeline and see why you want to study in the United States and how that's going to help you in your education goals and in your long-term goals, because those answers there, unless you know that, it's going to be really hard to tell a visa officer those answers. So goals are really important. Next step, Leo.
Well, provide accurate information. Even though these slides may seem self-explanatory, it is very important because some students, for example, the first thing you're going to do whenever you fill out your application is complete a profile. In the profile, they will ask you your name, address. Basically, it's like basic information about yourself. So when you complete your name, make sure that you use the name that shows on your passport. Because that's what the name we're going to input in the CVIS system whenever we create your I-20. So whenever you go to your visa interview, the name on your passport needs to match the name on your I-20. So make sure that the name on your profile matches the name on your passport. Then whenever the application will ask you about your address, you have to use your address from back home. We have many students here in the United States, or maybe studying in other countries. So we have to know the address, not if you're here in the United States or if you have an uncle living in the United States and he's applying for you or something like that. We need, again, your address from your home country, because that's information also needs to be provided to the government system for your I-20, right? Then once you complete your profile, you're going to go into the application part. And when we say accurate information, for example, the application will ask you about your current visa status. So if you are in the United States with a B1 visa, you have to disclose that information. If you currently don't have a visa, any type of visa for the United States, you can just say not on a current visa. That's fine. If you're traveling with dependents, if you're traveling with a son, a daughter, children in general, or your spouse, also make sure to let us know that, because we have to issue a separate I-20 for them if you're coming with you to the United States. Again, if you have a spouse, make sure to provide us with a marriage certificate. Again, this is a requirement by the U.S. government. It needs to be someone who's legally married to you in order to come to the country with you. Then academic history. The application will ask you about your high school and your college. So if you've taken any credits for, or if you're applying to an undergraduate program, and you submit your high school documents, but you're also taking some college credits at the same time, we need to know that. So we will do a full evaluation of all your transcripts, either high school or college. So we need to know if you're taking any college credits at this time. So again, this is very important to provide the accurate information, because even if, or especially if we are close to the application deadline and you provide information that is not accurate, we will have to reach back out to you. You will have to fix that information, or we will have to do it for you. That takes time, and sometimes it's valuable time that we'll take it. We'll maybe delay your admission, and you won't be able to attend a visa interview in time, and we'll have to defer your admission to the next entry term, and you have to wait 6 more months to attend college here. And sometimes if the information we think that is falsified information, or if you're trying to deceive the recruiters with fake information, that could be also grounds for denial. And we don't want to deny anyone. We want our international students to come to Troy and be successful. So this is why providing accurate information is important. So we understand that sometimes there is a bona fide error on the part of the student. Sometimes you mistype something, and we can fix that for you, right? But the better job you do at filling out the application, the quicker we will be able to process your admission and give you that I-20 and for you to attend that visa interview and all that.
All right, the next step and the next tip is once you submit your profile, you're going to submit your application and submit your documents. So step and tip all combined is when you're submitting your documents, you need to make sure you're submitting the correct documents and all your documents, because if you don't submit the correct documents and you don't submit the correct documents, then you're going to prolong the application review period. So if we don't have all your documents, we don't have the correct documents, we can't review your application. So if you keep emailing us and saying, hey, why can't I have my application review? Where's my I-20? We can't review your application for admission unless we have all the necessary documents. So if you're submitting to us a character certificate instead of your provisional certificate, I can't review that because that's not what's required, right? So just make sure that you read every supplemental item underneath your application. Will have a description. So read that description. Sometimes there's a link in that description that will give you, for example, our sponsor letter has a link to an external PDF that you can download. So you don't have to provide a document that you have to type yourself. You can use a blank form letter. We will always try to help you if you need help understanding those documents, but the documents that are explained to you on your application, we need those documents. We don't need additional documents. I don't need character certificates. I don't need your birth certificate explaining to me how much you weighed when you were born, things like that. We just need the documents that are on your supplemental items. If you have further questions, most of the time your recruiters will reach out to you once your application is submitted saying, hey, just a reminder, follow up and submit your documents. These are the documents you need to submit. Make sure you're submitting the correct documents, because if you don't submit those, you're not going to be reviewed. And if you submit on your application that you've attended, 3 universities, we need all those university transcripts. And if you don't submit those, kind of like Leo said, that's not going to allow us to review it. And if you only submit 2 and you keep telling us you don't have the other transcripts, then we're going to have to request outside evaluation, so a West or NASDAQ evaluation. So we typically don't require those, but if we don't receive the necessary documents from you, then that's when we're going to have to require outside evaluation. So that's why it's really important that you provide all the correct information and all the correct documents so we can give you a true evaluation without requiring an outside evaluation for you.
So tests are important, and we're not talking about the tests that you're going to be taking here, Troy. I mean, those are important as well, but we're talking about English proficiency tests and graduate entrance exams. In this case, let's just break it down. Let's talk about English proficiency test first. This could be a TOEFL exam, IELTS, Duolingo, ITEP, Cambridge English test. So we accept a wide variety of tests that you can take to prove that you're English proficient, right? In this case, if you don't provide a test, you will be admitted into our Esl Pathway Program that will lead into the academic program once you reach the necessary level of English. If you're an undergraduate student, you can apply for this pathway program. Your I-20 will reflect that you are not English proficient, that you will have to do ESL first before entering your undergraduate program. Now, for graduate programs, this is not an option. There is no conditional admission for graduate programs. If you are, again, this is why we recommend so much to take an English proficiency test. For example, Duolingo tests are like only $50. So, and this, it will just save you a headache, right? Because the I-20, if you're a graduate student, if you're coming here to study a master's in computer science or an MBA or any program, your I-20 will say that you're only admitted to ESL. Once you finish ESL, we will update your I-20 to reflect that you've been admitted to a master's program. So just remember that. If you're applying to a master's program and you don't have an English proficiency test score, your I-20 will only say that you're admitted to the ESL program. And that can be detriment for you whenever you go to your visa interview, because again, maybe you have all the right grades, and maybe you can even receive a scholarship to attend our graduate program, but you're just lacking that English proficiency test, and your I-20 will reflect that. So make sure that if you have the English and you have the capabilities and the the means to take an English proficiency test, we highly recommend it. Then when it comes to entrance exams or graduate entrance exams, again, and this is just for master students, GRE, GMAT, MAT, depending on the program. For example, if you're studying biomedical sciences, a master's in biomedical sciences, this test cannot be waived. You have to take it even for conditional admission. The program offers conditional admission based on your GRE score, but you will have to take the test. Same with computer science. Computer science is currently waiving the test for fall 2022. So if you're planning on applying to the fall semester for computer science, I would recommend you to make sure to get into the fall semester, because I believe they will reinstate the test for spring 2023. So if you want your test to be waived, the fall 2022 semester is the semester you want to start at. So yeah, again, make sure that you're taking that again, English proficiency test course and GRE or GMAT or MAT, depending on the program that you're applying to. If you have any questions, you can reach out to us. We can let you know which programs will require this test, if they're mandatory or not. And make sure you submit your test scores officially. If you're taking the GRE or the TOEFL, they're from the same company. It's called ETS. You go to your ETS profile and you can request them to send the scores to us. Duolingo, same thing. You can go to your Duolingo account. We have a Duolingo dashboard set up. The scores usually takes less than 24 hours to be reported electronically. So yeah, again, this is part of, if we go back to a slide, and Claire was mentioning about the documents that you need to submit, English proficiency test, not only are one of the documents that you have to submit, but also make sure that they're submitted officially.
So like Leo was mentioning, you need to make sure you submit your English proficiency test score, your GRE test score, and you need to make sure you do it by the deadline, because deadlines are important. You need to make sure you have all your application documents in. You need to make sure your application is submitted. If you've only started an application and you email me and say, hey, I just started my application, I did it by our deadline, can I be reviewed for an I-20? Well, you haven't submitted your application and you haven't submitted your documents, so unfortunately we can't review you for our deadline. So deadlines are super important. Our fall application deadline is June 1st. So our fall admissions is for August. August is our intake and our June 1st is our deadline. Spring is January admissions and our deadline is November 1st. We only offer summer intake for our English as a second language intake. And so if you are non-English proficient, we will take you in for our English as a second language program. We do not offer scholarships for our ESL program, so just be aware of that, and it will show on your I-20 that you are non-English proficient. So if you come from a country in West Africa especially, and it shows on your I-20 that you are non-English proficient, just know that it probably will affect your visa outcome. And we can talk about that later. But just know that deadlines are super important. If you're submitting your application after the deadline, we will not review it at all for the application period that you are intended for. We will move your application to the next period. We get thousands of applications in, and it's only right that we review the people who meet the deadline. And that's just showing them and having integrity for those students that met that deadline. So make sure you get your application in by that deadline. June 1st is our next deadline. So make sure you meet that deadline so we can review your application in time. But again, meeting that deadline does not mean just submitting your application. It means submitting all necessary documents, including official test scores. And getting your official test scores, and especially if they're coming from TOEFL and GRE, it takes about 8 to 10 business days for us to receive those officially. Duolingo takes about 24 to 48 hours, but ETS takes a little bit longer. So just make sure you keep all that in mind. We have to receive everything officially. So very, very important.
So give yourself time. And as Claire was talking about just now, admission to basically to any university here in the United States could take you between like 6 to 12 to 18 months. Maybe you apply during the spring semester, but you're admitted to the next spring semester, right? So giving yourself time to go through the application process is very important. When talking about deadlines, make sure that even though we do have a deadline, which is June 1st, Claire just mentioned that, if you can apply before, if you can have everything submitted before, make sure don't wait until the last minute to submit everything, right? Because again, you have to attend, you may have to take, again, English proficiency scores or test, I'm sorry. You may have to take a graduate entrance exam. Those tests take a while to for you to get the grade back, and then it takes a while for the scores to be reported back to university. Again, if you take the test too close to the deadline, you may not be able to get into the semester that you want to get into, right? And you may have to defer your admission. And again, this is why we say that the admission process can take a long time, because things can happen in the middle that may delay your admission. For example, if you are applying for your visa, right? Some countries, they have a short wait time for the visa interview. Some countries have a longer time. Right now, visas or consulates and embassies are opening again around the world. They are giving visa interviews. Usually for student visas, they are like fairly quickly, or sometimes they give you like an emergency appointment if you are too close to the start date of your program. If you are, visa, like tourist visas, for example, I know they're being put in like in the back burner per se, right? So, but I know that again, as embassies start opening and they start giving more visa interviews, more people are applying, and there are more delays in visa wait times. So again, if make sure to give yourself time to go through the whole application process, because everything we mentioned before, doing your research, getting your documents, submitting your documents, all that takes time, and you won't be able to do all that in a couple of weeks, right? So, giving yourself time and understanding that this process actually, can take a couple of months up to a year is very important to have, the right expectations for the process.
The next step is be diligent. And that just means on your side, just make sure that you are checking the application portal to see the notes that we're putting in there. So underneath your required documents, we are going to go in there and check there and make notes for you. We're also going to be sending you emails. So make sure that you put your accurate email in there. As Leo mentioned, make sure you have accurate information, because we try to contact you and it bounces back to us. We have no way of contacting you. And then you might be thinking, why is it taking so long for them to reach out to me? But we'll try to reach out to you. But if you put your auntie's email in there, if you put your uncle's, if you use an agent, and we don't even know that it's an agent, but we're reaching out to somebody else and we can't contact you, then that's why it's taking so long. Is because we keep on trying to reach out to you, but nothing is coming back to us. So we always will try to make notes on your application under your supplemental item as another means of communication with you, to let you know maybe your documents are submitted as JPEGs instead of PDFs. We can only process PDF documents. So we need you to make sure you upload your documents as PDFs, and maybe you submitted a document as a Word document. And so we've gone in and said, hey, please redo this as a PDF. Or maybe your YX scratch card is invalid and we've tried it and it doesn't come back, or it's come back as somebody else's name and we can't verify it. So we've made notes under your application. So check under your application for the notes that we've made to you. Maybe you had some information that we can't validate. So it's come back to us, and we've had to had a conversation with our application committee, and we actually do need an outside source to validate your information. So we've had to send it back to you and ask for a WES evaluation. And that's an unfortunate situation, but that does take time. But we don't want you to be disheartened. We want you to keep coming and keep going in the situation and keep going through the application process. And so that's why you have to be diligent on your end. It does take time, like Leo was saying, to go through the application process. Sometimes it's very quick, and sometimes it takes longer. And then the visa process takes time. But we are here to help you. We just want you to be diligent on your end, because we can only do so much on our end. The application is really a lot on your end as a student. And so you just have to be diligent to make sure you're doing everything you can to follow up on your application.
So connect with us. This means that we're here for you. Anything you need, regarding the application process or the admission process, we'll be your recruiters. Will be guiding you through the whole thing. You don't have to do this alone. If you have any questions regarding the documents you need to submit, how to submit them, any updates we have on your application or on your admission, we will be the people you need to contact for all these questions. So we're going to have our details at the end of the presentation, so you can just send us an email. But we're also available through like WhatsApp. We can set up a private meeting with you. We are very active on social media, Facebook and Instagram. So I'm sure I see there's like 124 people here right now. So I'm sure many of you saw our Instagram post, and that's why you decided to join this presentation right now. So yeah, just make sure to reach out to us with any questions you have. We'll be more than happy to help you. And Anandita as well, if we have any students from India right now, make sure to reach out to Anandita with any questions you have, and she'll be happy to help you as well.
And we have lots of videos on our YouTube that we've done previous presentations. If you weren't able to make it on our Instagram and our social media, we have a LinkedIn that goes directly to our on our YouTube page. That all of our previous recordings on like webinars about our campus life, about events on campus. We've also interviewed our current professors on campus, our Dean of Education, our Dean of Business School, telling about programs on campus. So if you want to learn more about the university in your process to do research, right? Our tip number 1, please check us out on YouTube. So maybe you want to learn more about the school and the website's not providing enough, and you want to contact us, but you want to do research before you contact us. Please do, and check us out on YouTube as well, because we have all that information, and maybe you just weren't able to come to those webinars. They're recorded there, and we'll send out that link directly to you as well in the email following up of this webinar. The next tip and final tip, you made it through all 10, is be a Trojan. So if you are admitted, and we hope that you are, you've made it through all 10 tips. So I hope that you'll go through the application process with us. If not, I hope that you find a great school that matches, but I secretly hope that you are a Trojan, and I know Leah does too. Is you're going to receive an email from us. You'll probably received a lot of emails so far, but you'll receive more. And it invites you to set up your Troy email account. That's a very, very vital. It gives you a video that we've made explaining how to set up a Troy email account and step-by-step instructions. It's super important because in addition to your admission letter that you've received in that email, you're going to receive your Troy email in your Troy email account, you're going to receive your I-20. We only send I-20s to verified email accounts. And like we said before, you might have signed up with your application with your mom's email, with your dad's email, with your brother's email, and we don't know who we're sending that to. So to verify that is going to be sent to you, we are going to send it to a Troy email account intended for you. And you have to use a 2-factor authenticator to verify that it's you. So your phone number and your email address. So just to verify, and those accounts, we set it up that way because you're going to be using that email address when you are here at Troy. They're set up the way that they are to prevent hacking, and because it's a government document, we want to protect that as much as we can. So make sure you set that account up as soon as possible once you are admitted, so you can receive the I-20. You also, just making sure that you know, to receive the I-20, you have to provide a financial statement. So even if you receive admission without a financial statement, you do have to provide that financial statement to receive an I-20. So even if you set up your Troy email account, you don't receive the I-20 if you haven't set up that financial statement into your application. So that's the first step to starting that visa process. Once you receive that I-20, you'll have it on the email there, links to starting the visa process, a link to paying your I-901 fee to the U.S. government. That's not paid to us. That's to the U.S. government. Links to seeing how long the visa wait times are in your country. Links to the embassies in your country, the options to where you can go to the embassy. We've also done visa webinar videos, so we go step by step through the visa process. We are here for you every step of the way, but we can't go to your visa interview for you. But we want to help you. So the next step is to start that visa process early. You can attend your visa interview 120 days before your start date. So for the August start date, the 120 days before the August start date is April 17th, which is a Sunday. So embassies are closed. So you'll be able to attend your visa interview April 18th, which that means that you can really start that process almost next month, really. So start your application early. If you haven't started it yet, start it now, because as soon as you receive the I-20, you can register for your visa interview April 18th and get that out of the way. So really important, because those interview dates really fill up fast. So if you wait to June 1st at our deadline, those interview dates will probably be full. Fall is a really big intake date for schools in the US. So those interview dates fill up really, really fast. So we really encourage you to apply and apply early so you can start that visa process early. So we're gonna go to our next slide and answer some questions for you.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, 36 messages here. So we'll just start from the beginning, and we'll if we answer if there are any repeated questions, we'll just we'll skip those. Is political science available in Troy University?
At the PhD level, I think. So it is not, like Leo mentioned, we only have 3 PhD programs at Troy. That's nursing and global leadership, and both of those are only online, and then we have sports management on campus. We do have a link to all of our programs on our website. It's very easy to find that. All you have to do is type in Troy University academic programs, and it takes you right to the page. You just click on this girl with curly hair and you click there. Her name's Autumn. She used to be our marketing director. She was great. So you find those programs, and then it has a tab for undergraduate and graduate. So just know that all of our programs are not offered on campus for international students, but if you find one that you want for online, you can always take that in your home country as well.
Can use my own bank statement as my own sponsor because I don't have in the USA.
Well, if I interpret it correctly, it doesn't matter if you don't have a U.S. bank statement or not. You can have a bank statement anywhere in the world. The U.S. government just wants to make sure that you have funds, whether it's in your currency or U.S. currency. We can convert it. That's not a problem. And if that bank statement is not in your name, you can provide a sponsor letter just showing that, whether it's your auntie or your uncle or your grandma or your next door neighbor, whoever that relation is to you. They like it to be a closer relationship than maybe your brother's next door neighbor's best friend, right? But as long as they show some sort of relation to you and they want to sponsor your education, as long as you have proof for 1 year financials, so undergraduate is $30,300 and graduate is $28,750. The U.S. government doesn't care what country it comes from, as long as you have a sponsor letter. If it is from the U.S., though, if it's a bank account from the U.S., whether it's a U.S. citizen or not, there is an additional form you have to fill out, and we can provide that for you.
And make sure it's in a person's name. It's not an LLC or a company or an organization or anything like that.
And we cannot use fixed funds. So if it's a fixed deposit or stocks or bonds or anything like that, cryptocurrency, we can't use that.
No crypto at the moment.
Right.
They apply for MBA program without Duolingo 95. So for any graduate program, you have to have a Duolingo of 100 to be able to apply. 95 falls short by 5 points, unfortunately. So maybe I would recommend you to try and retake it, because you're pretty close. Good morning.
So if you emailed about a deferment during the week of February 20th, I was on holiday and I have about 600 emails from that week. So I apologize. I am still trying to play catch up, but please be very patient with me. 600 emails is a lot while trying to plan this webinar, but I'm super happy to be with you today and I'm still trying to play catch up. So please be patient with me and I will respond to you.
How do I qualify for a graduate assistantship? So usually to qualify for graduate assistantships, you have to be unconditionally admitted, and that is, have the right English proficiency test score and have the right graduate entrance exam score like GRE, GMAT if the program requires it. And that graduate assistantships, they work like jobs. You will apply to the posting on our website, and you will interview with like several other students. And if you're the most qualified one for that position, you're likely to get it. So, but I just please understand that there's a limited amount of graduate assistantships available each semester, and unfortunately, there's not enough for all the candidates. I would like to join Masters of Secondary Education in Biology.
So our Masters of Education programs, those are only offered online, and we would love to have you join. And we do have a Masters of Education in Biology, but again, all the Masters of Education programs are just offered online for international students. And basically, because the reason for that is because they're hybrid programs. So they offer few programs on campus, and the majority of them are online, so the teachers can teach in classes. And so what you would do is you would teach in the classroom in your country and then take those online classes. So if you're interested in that, please reach out to us. We would love to talk to you about that.
Hello here, I filled out my application for MPA and have a question about TA or GA positions. Are they accepted?
Yeah, I think we just talked about that. Yeah. Yeah. So just make sure that you are admitted first before you apply for those GA positions. And then just know that if you apply for MBA or, computer science or wherever, you don't have to apply for those graduate assistantship positions specifically in those departments. You can apply anywhere, in the university, as long as your resume shows some sort of experience in the department that you are applying for. That kind of opens up the possibilities across campus. Like, for example, we have a computer science person working as our GA in international admissions, because we need somebody with help with our website. So as you can see, our website is kind of under construction, but he's helping us with that. So you don't have to apply just to the MBA department.
Alicia, namaste.
Hello to Nepal.
I have received admit in Masters in Computer Science, Artificial Intelligence for fall 2022. What is the next step for getting full tuition waiver? Do I get full tuition waiver if I get GTA or GRE? Okay, yeah. Okay.
So as Leo mentioned before, when we talked about scholarships, so scholarships only go up to 50%. So we do not offer full tuition scholarships for our admission-based scholarships, not even to graduate students. But if you find a graduate assistantship that pays the remainder of that 50%, you can add those two together. Some do offer stipends, some offer scholarships, some just offer a regular paycheck. You would just have to interview with your department and see what they would offer on top of what we offer. Some offer really good scholarships, some offer really good paychecks. It just really depends on how that department is funded.
I see some people raising their hands, and we're just going to try to go through the questions as they were asked, first come, first serve, to respect the people who ask the question first. So if you have any questions, just pop them in the chat. We're trying to go as quickly but as thoroughly as possible. Can you throw more light on available fundings? So what I mentioned before, the scholarship that you can obtain that covers 50% of the tuition. You need to be English proficient, and if you are a graduate student and your program requires a graduate entrance exam, you will have to have that as well with a qualifying score. Usually it ranges between 294 to 297 for the GRE and about maybe 500 for the GMAT. So yeah, you will have to have that. We also have foundation scholarships. Probably Claire can tell you more about that, since when she was a Troy student, she obtained some of those as well. Yeah,
happy to talk about foundation scholarships and some other opportunities. So foundation scholarships are offered to students that are enrolled on campus. You can apply for those before, I don't know if I enunciated that correctly, cannot apply for those before you arrive on campus. You have to be enrolled as a student, and those are emailed out. Those opportunities are emailed out during your first semester on campus, and both graduate and undergraduate students can apply to those. Essentially, what happens is you are sent a link once you're enrolled as a student, and you kind of see a full list of opportunities, and you might not be eligible for any of them. You might be eligible for a lot of them, and you basically have to read what the opportunities are. And one might say you have to be a male between the ages of 18 and 25 in the program of business administration undergrad program from Nigeria. And if you're eligible for that, you can apply for it, but it takes a long essay and you have to meet those criteria. And some might be very generic. They might be 18 to 25 in the College of Business and male, female from any country. They're basically scholarships provided from organizations, businesses, alumni, and they're based on merit and an essay. And you can work through our writing center. We have a really great writing center, which I also really like because I work there as an undergraduate student, but they will help you write an essay. They won't write it for you, but you can write it out and they'll tell you, how you can make changes to make it sound more eloquent and have you become a better candidate for that scholarship. And some of those are from, anywhere between $100,000 and $5,000 for 1 year. They're not consecutive years. Every year you have to reapply to those. And they are offered, like I said, through businesses. I think the one I received was through a previous alumni who passed away, and his family made a foundation for him. And you just have to follow certain criteria if you're awarded those, write a thank you letter, go out to dinner, and things like that. And then you can also check through your country. I know Education USA normally has a country page that shows scholarships that are available per country. So maybe if you're from the Bahamas, that your country offers certain scholarships for students studying in the United States, things like that. So definitely check out Education USA's page and see what scholarships are available for students from your specific countries.
As a Nigerian, must I have IELTS or GRE? Isn't there a waiver because I can speak and write English fluently?
So I know, and it's really hard because every student's like, I really want a waiver and I don't think I need to do this because my medium of instruction was English. But unfortunately, when we issue you an I-20, on the I-20 it says, English proficiency level, and we have to report what your English proficiency level is. So unless we have that English proficiency test score, we have no clue what that is. And just understand that the GRE is completely separate than the English proficiency score. So the GRE is a graduate entrance exam. So if you're a graduate student, some of your programs require that and some don't. Some of them have waived it. Some of them do not require it at all. So check with us and see what your graduate program requires. All graduate students have to submit an English proficiency score. If not, your I-20 will show only, as Leo mentioned before, only English as a second language program. You won't be issued an I-20 for your master level. So as a Nigerian or anybody from West Africa, I have documented this and I have researched this for all of my students over the 3 years I've worked here. More than likely, based on the rates of my research, you will be denied a visa because your I-20 shows only ESL. Unfortunately, it just shows that because you walk into your visa interview and you speak perfect English, but on your I-20 it shows that you're only studying ESL. So it seems very suspicious to visa officers. So realistically, if you think about this practically with me, we'll work this out, right? Because Leo was in business, so let's think about this business-wise, okay? It is $49 US to provide a Duolingo score. But if you have an English proficiency score and an eligible GPA to get into the school, you get a scholarship for 50% off your tuition, which is typically $8,000 or more. So why wouldn't you spend $49 to get an $8,000 scholarship, right? Like, it doesn't make sense. And then that would also help your visa outcome because you're providing a letter to the government showing that you have $8,000 worth of scholarship money. And that shows on your I-20 as well. And it doesn't show on your I-20 that you have ESL. Like, that makes sense, doesn't it? Business-wise?
Absolutely.
Okay. So unfortunately, all international students have to provide English proficiency score, even Nigerians, sorry. But also logically and business-wise, it does make sense to provide that English proficiency score because you get a scholarship. It's like free money. Okay, all right, we're moving on.
Please, can you throw more light on the tuition fee for undergraduate? I mean, I guess we can go back to that slide to show you the costs as well. You know, these are the costs for all the programs that we offer, ESL, undergraduate, graduate. The tuition is calculated based on 24 credit hours per year. That is about like 4 classes each semester or 8 classes a year. If you take more classes, the tuition will go up. But as well, if you receive a scholarship, the scholarship will go up as well, since it will always cover 50% of the tuition. So I think it'll cover 50% of the tuition up until $10,000. So yeah, you may start, as I said before, maybe to around $8,000, $8,500. If you decide to take more classes, up until $10,000, the tuition will be covered by the scholarship.
Yeah. So it looks like there's a lot of questions about GA positions and full tuition. So we're just going to skip over those. I feel like we've covered that immensely. And I think there's something about application fee waivers. So just so you know, again, we're going to just repeat what I talked about at the beginning in case you weren't here. Your application fee waiver for attending today will be sent to you after this. So if you have tried to use an application fee waiver promo code, just so you know, we're going to resend it to you today. So as long as you registered for this webinar, you'll get an email from us with the recording of today's webinar and your application fee promo code. Just so you know, there is an expiration date on that, so make sure you use it within the next couple of days or else it will expire.
What is the condition of part-time jobs at Troy University? And are there any IT companies in Troy for summer internships? So basically, if you're just a undergraduate student who wants to basically work on campus to make some extra money, there's like no condition. We have like many students working here either at the international office or in different offices around campus. Usually it is about like 20 hours a week, no more than that. You're here to study, you're not here to work. So the job is again only a few hours a week. We have jobs at our dining facility as well, which they also offer, I believe, a scholarship that covers 10% of your tuition. So besides working at the dining facility here on campus, you can also obtain this scholarship that will increase your current scholarship if you receive a 50% tuition discount up to 60%. And when it comes to IT companies here in Troy for some internships, we don't have any companies here precisely in Troy.
No, CGI is right next to Troy.
I guess, yeah, that's true. So I'm sure if they offer any summer internships at the moment, but yeah, you can always, they do have a jobs website, and you can always talk to your computer science professors. They have connections with, with many companies here in the area, so they can help you if there is any positions available that you can take.
Yeah. And just be aware though, so to qualify for internships, you do have to be a part of your program for 1 year. So per CVIS, so the U.S. government that monitors your F1 status, so your student visa status, you do have to be a part of your program for 1 year, enrolled in your program and on campus to qualify for an external internship. So just know that you can't get here and then start your program and then qualify for an internship. You do have to be in your program for 1 year to start that.
When do we take the test? If you're talking about English proficiency test or graduate entrance exam, I would say the sooner the better. Again, as we mentioned before, deadlines are important, and it is recommended not to wait until the last minute to submit your documentation. So the sooner you can take the test, and for example, if you say you take the TOEFL exam, it is good for 2 years. So even if for some reason you can get into Troy during your first attempt, again, maybe because you ran out of time and you can schedule a visa interview in time, you can just apply again, and your test score will be just as valid as the first time.
Yeah, but and just know, like TOEFL and IELTS, you do have to go to a testing center though for those. So you might want to check in your area to see if there's a testing center. I know not all countries offer both. And if you're an undergraduate student, we do take the SAT and ACT, not required, but those will take the place of an English proficiency test. But I know not all of those are offered everywhere around the world. Duolingo, though, we're not promoting that, but just know you can take that anywhere around the world as long as you have access to a computer with a camera and a microphone, which most computers nowadays do have that. And you can take that any time of day, anywhere around the world, 3 o'clock in the morning in your pajamas, if you so wish. So just so you know, testing centers do limit when you can take things, but you can take the GRE, and I think in most countries, I don't think North Korea, so. But yes, but just so you're aware, most things can be taken online, like Duolingo and the GRE nowadays, but other things you do have to go to a testing center for.
Duolingo 95 acceptable for masters. We covered that. You need 100 for master's programs. What about an undergraduate computer science program? Yes.
We do offer that. We offer lots of computer science programs, both graduate and undergraduate programs, and cybersecurity at the undergraduate level.
Okay, 6 in the IELTS exam or 100 in the Duolingo test are good enough for a master's in, I'm guessing, second language instruction. Is that what you want to study? But yeah, I mean,
Indeed, Alamin, I think you are from Bangladesh, my good sir, and you can contact me. I'll put my contact information up at the end. I believe I have another student by your name, so unless you've already contacted me about a different program, please reach out.
Applicants from countries where their official language is English need to submit an English proficiency too. We covered that. You do. Could I apply for MBA program? Again, 95, you need 100. Do programs for international students have scholarships? Yes, yeah, as we mentioned before, you can apply either at the undergraduate or graduate level. You can receive a 50% tuition discount or scholarship, if you fulfill all the requirements for admission.
The scholarships for undergraduate students who completed A-levels are the same. So as long as you produce your international baccalaureate or your Cambridge or your depending on what country, if you're from Cameroon and you've taken the A-levels there. So depending on what country you've taken the A-levels in or what source you've taken A-levels, I'm not sure which A-levels, but A-levels means you've taken your high school, but yes, it's the same scholarship, the 50% as long as you have English proficiency and your GPA calculates to 2.0 or higher out of 4.0. But send them to us on your application. We'll evaluate it as long as you have your provisional certificate or certificate saying that you can migrate from your A-levels. Not the same for everybody else. Just so you know, I need a provisional certificate from everybody else, but A-levels are a little bit different. Thank you.
Minimum GRE requirement for international students could vary from program to program, but I believe Prakash answered below. Yeah, for example, could be a 294 again, depending on the program, could be 294, 297. If it is, for example, the PhD in sport management, I believe it's a 310, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, for some programs like the computer science program is waiving it for fall 2022.
You can reach out to your recruiter and ask about your specific program requirement, or you can check on the website. The catalog will have it as well. But reach out to us, let us know which program you're interested in, and we'll let you know. You can email us or WhatsApp us, and we'll let you know.
Yeah, if you haven't heard from any of us, just know that we will get to your email. Usually we receive many emails from students, and we'll get to it eventually. So we apologize if there's any delay.
Again, I have 600 and I'm trying to work through them as fast as I can. Yes. Fill down application.
Okay, so
we've answered a lot about graduate assistantships, and you have to be unconditionally admitted. So you have to have all your documents and met your GRE score if it's a requirement, like Leo mentioned. So make sure you have all of your documents in.
I want to see We have a picture with
Yeah.
someone holding
You know-
the Nepalese flag.
You know, we do photo shoots all the time, and we have a day of peace where all of our students from every different country holds their own flag, and we do a walk around the school. So if you're admitted and you're here on campus, you will see yourself holding that flag.
Well, the will receive an application fee waiver. Okay, I mentioned this at the beginning. We will send after we're done with this presentation, we'll upload it to YouTube, and then we'll send you a link, or we'll send you an email with a link to the presentation so you can review it if you have to, and with the application fee waiver code. So you will get a code that will allow you to waive the application fee whenever you complete your application. Can the application be reviewed with unofficial GRE or
No.
TPEF?
I think it's TOEFL. No, you have to have official to review your application, unless you want to if you want to be unconditionally admitted. So unless you want to go through the ESL program, which I don't think you do, you have to have all your official scores submitted. So we have to have your official TOEFL score if they want that to be considered. The reason behind that is because honestly, people send in fraudulent scores, and the only way we can verify that is through a verified score from TOEFL, just to be honest with you. Not that we don't want to believe you, but there's a lot of fraudulent documents out there, and so we have to have those official scores sent in. We don't accept any other means.
So I submitted my IELTS exam that I wrote. Okay, so
No.
2015.
All English proficiency test scores are only valid for 2 years. So you have to have, if they're over 2 years old, we don't accept them. So we're going to keep going through these really fast because a lot of these are double ones.
Application fee waiver.
So we're not going to talk about anything about the application fee waivers because you're getting that in the email after this. So we don't offer engineering on campus unless you're an undergraduate student and you want to do electronic engineer. What is that program with Dr. Yeah, that's it. With Dr. Benacoda, we have a great webinar about that with Dr. Benacoda, and he combines that with our webinar with computer science. So check that out on our YouTube page.
Okay, so this is a good question. MBA Global Business, Information Systems and Data Analytics, STEM designated. So they're currently working on having this program STEM verified. So we will announce it once the School of Business is able to get this done. So yeah, it's in the process.
Yep. And in all honesty, it takes a little bit of time. So by the time you got admitted and started your program, and then you needed to go through CPT or OPT, it probably would already be STEM designated. So just so you know, definitely don't let that make you hesitant to start the application process. Start the application process. They've been in that review period. It just takes several months for the U.S. government to approve something for our I-20s and things like that. So just make sure that you go ahead and start that process, and by the time you're enrolled in school, it probably would be approved.
Can be provided with your WhatsApp information, and is there an undergraduate for physical education, health, and wellness? So yeah, just we're gonna have our email addresses in the screen in a second after we're done with all the questions, and then you can send us an email, and you'll see our WhatsApp information right below on our signature. So you can just, if whether Claire or I am your recruiter, you can reach out to us. And then yeah, we do have a program. It's not called physical education. It's called exercise science. And yes, it has like different focuses like nutrition and wellness. And so yeah, you can just we can send you a link with more information about the program as well.
And we do actually have an undergraduate education program that focuses on exercise science within the classroom as well. So
can be admitted to biological and environmental sciences without GRE? Unfortunately not. Now, so to environmental sciences, you may be able to get a waiver based on your GPA if it is high enough, if it is a 3.0 or higher on our
3.4.
3.4, yeah, I'm sorry, 3.4 or higher on a 4.0 scale. But that might be the only way that you can have it waived.
If you've
or
had
in
a previous, if you had a previous degree in biological sciences, as well as taken the prerequisites.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
we would have to do it. We would have to do a transcript evaluation to guarantee that. So more than likely you have.
Yeah, let me
Yeah.
rephrase that. You may be able to qualify for a waiver given certain circumstances.
But it's not a general waiver. You would have to make sure that you met those qualifications. So very few and far between do those students make those qualifications.
Can you have a friend sponsor you? Yes, as we said before, as long as it is a checking savings account with a person's name in it and it is not a company. Application fee waiver, we mentioned that. We'll send that via email.
Yeah, so I'm just going to answer some of these general questions about, so we've got some questions about transferring to Troy and depending on what their current studies are. So if you're interested in studying in Troy and you're transferring to Troy, what that looks like, because we've got several questions that are very similar to that, definitely check out our program page. So what you can do is if you're interested in a general study area like nursing or health sciences, definitely check out our health science section and it gives you lots of options. And if you're interested in transferring to Troy, what that would mean is you would apply as a transfer student at the undergraduate level. And what we would do is we would need your official, once you're admitted, we would need your official transcripts from your school and a course evaluation. We can't have those documents sent to us by you. You would have to have your school send them to us, and we would do a course evaluation per your program that you've chosen at Troy and see how many of those courses transfer. So if you're in your third year at your current school and you need to see how many of those courses transfer, some of them might not transfer. If you're taking a degree in agriculture and you want to transfer to nursing, some of them may transfer, but we would just have to do a course evaluation to see, but we would have to have official transcripts from your school and a course evaluation. And we typically require that after you are admitted because if you aren't admitted to the program, there's no sense of providing all that work. We're not going to answer any more information about scholarships because I feel like we've been over that several times and we've already gone over the funding that is on our page right now. If you are finding it difficult to complete any of the application, we are also on the page on the email that we're going to send out following this. We're going to have a link to filling out the application. It's just a very simple step-by-step. I don't even think you see our faces. I think you just hear our voice, and it's just a screenshot of each page of the application explaining what to do. We'll send that out to you if you're having difficulty on how to fill out the application. And if you have any questions, just let us know. But make sure you watch that video first because it very easily explains the application. And if you don't see any supplemental items on your application, it's because you have not paid the application fee or have not submitted your promo code. So you have to submit your application and pay the application or use the promo code to upload your documents. Once you've submitted your application for review, we've had a question that asks how long it takes to receive an application back once it's submitted. Once you've received your application, submit your application and all your documents, and you've received an email for us saying it's been sent for review. That means that we've looked at it as your recruiter and made sure everything in there is good to go. If not, maybe something's missing or it's still very fresh. I think I received an email today saying, hey, why haven't you looked at my documents? And it literally was just sent in yesterday. So if you guys are very urgent behind it, I'm sorry, if you just sent it in yesterday, it might be top on my queue, it might be last on my queue. It just takes a little bit of time for us to review it. But we'll send it for review. We'll send a confirmation email to you that we've sent it for review, and it takes 7 to 14 business days to receive an admission letter or an answer back from us saying maybe we need more information. If you've already completed your application, but maybe you completed it for a different semester, you email your recruiter and let us know. We can always defer it.
Yeah, so really quickly, do I have to submit the financial documents before being accepted, or can I submit it after I have been accepted? So you can be accepted to your academic program without having a financial statement. Just know that the financial statement is necessary for you to get your I-20. So if you need your admission letter or maybe like a letter letting maybe a sponsor, or if you're getting a student loan, the student loan will require you to get an admission letter in order to prove that you have been admitted to university. We can provide that to you, but just know that to get your I-20, you will need to have your financial statement.
I have lots of questions about English proficiency scores. And if you don't have English proficiency score as an undergraduate student, what can you do, Leo?
Yeah, so as we mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, you can participate in our Esl Pathway Program. Basically, it's an English as a second language program that it consists of 6 levels. Once you reach level 6 and you pass level 6, you'll be able to enter your academic program. In this case, I think it was computer science. Yeah, other than that, if you want to start your academic program right away, you will have to have your English proficiency scores.
And can you submit a medium of instruction letter or a letter from your school saying you studied in English?
So yeah, medium of instruction is not one of the documents that we accept to show proof of English proficiency. It needs to be a standardized test like Duolingo, IELTS, TOEFL, ITEP, Cambridge English Test, or PTE.
Okay. And what if somebody has already submitted their application? Can they change their major? How does that work?
Yes, you can change your major if you submit your application. Just please know that before you submit your application, I'm sure many of you have an application started, and this is why you're here. You want to get that application fee waiver. You can just go back to your application and change your major. Once you submit the application, you are stating that everything in the application is correct, and this is how you want to submit it. And you won't be able to edit it later. If you want to edit anything from your application, you have to let us know, and we'll have to do that for you. So make sure to reach out to your recruiter. If you're in India, reach out to Anandita and let her know that something in your application was filled out by mistake, or again, you want to change your program or anything that needs to be modified. Just let us know.
I think the one thing we didn't mention about the scholarships is, are they renewable?
Oh. Yeah, so again, for undergraduate students, if you maintain a GPA of 3.0 during your first year, the fall and this, say you start in the fall, during the fall and the spring, you maintain a GPA or CGPA of 3.0, you can reapply for this scholarship. If you're a graduate student and you maintain a GPA of 3.1 during your first academic year, you can reapply for the 50% scholarship as well. So if you didn't say you start in the fall and you didn't do very well during your first semester, you have a 2.8 or something like that, you still have one more semester to bring that GPA to that 3.0 to be able to qualify for the scholarship for the next academic year. So make sure that you're a good student and you get good grades so you can maintain that scholarship.
This question goes back to the dining scholarship. Yeah. Is that available at the time of admission or once they come on campus?
Well, you have to have that job first. So you can't count on that scholarship before you arrive to Troy. Again, this is a job that you have to apply to and you have to interview for it. There are other candidates who also want this job. So you won't be able to get the job before you arrive to Troy. So make sure, don't count on that funding when you come to Troy. Because it is not 100% sure that you will get it, right?
This is very important. This is a great question, Enoch, and I greatly appreciate you for asking this. Do I have to send my documents directly to my recruiter or do I upload it on the application portal? This is a great question because it used to be one way and now our application has changed. So you have to upload it only to your application, and you can only upload it once your application has been submitted and either use an application code or paid for. You can't submit your documents before you've paid for it, or else we don't see them. So if you think you've submitted your documents but you haven't paid for it or you haven't used an application promo code, then you haven't really submitted your documents. And I don't think you actually have the opportunity to submit them until it's been paid.
Right.
So if you tell me you've submitted them, but you haven't paid for it, then something's wrong. You applied for a different school or something. So, so make sure you submit means sign, and it says submit at the very end of the application, and then it will take you to the payment page. When it takes you to the payment page, now that you've attended this webinar, you'll receive a free application promo once you receive the email from us today. You'll put your promo code in there and you hit submit again, and then it will take you to an area, you'll see an area that says supplemental items. If you've applied correctly for your correct academic program, it should manually show you your correct documents that you should upload. Now, if you applied for maybe social work or something like that, we'll have to upload in your additional supplemental items because it does require like 3 letters of recommendation and a resume and things like that. But for your basic documents, you'll see those, your transcripts, your passport, financial statement. You don't have to submit now, but if you have it, go ahead and submit it because it won't prolong your I-20 from being issued. All of those things will be uploaded to your application, or will be shown on your application for you to upload. Do not email them to us, because if you email them to us, I'm just going to email you back. Leo's going to email you back saying, we can't do this for you. Please upload it yourself. Again, make sure it's uploaded as a PDF document. If it's not, I'm going to have to email you and say, please do it correctly because I can't change it for you. And make sure you upload them as separate documents. So your transcripts go in one, your certificate goes in another, passport goes in another. If they're all compiled together, we can't process it. And it's because our evaluators have to process things differently. And so if it's all together, it stops the system. So make sure you do it according to the way the application's requesting it. One of our tips was going to be read the application, but we thought that was going to be beneath you. So just make sure that you do what the application requires of you, because if not, then it really does stop your application from being processed, okay? If your IELTS score is below the requirement, or if it's expired, you can still apply, but just know that you're going to be processed for our English as a second language program. So it's probably better for you to submit a higher score or to submit a non-expired score.
Let me see really quickly. Someone was asking master's in computer science, is it offline or online?
Oh.
Yeah, so if you want to take it here on campus, yeah, we have the master's here on campus, and I believe some of the specializations or concentrations are offered also online. And
We've already answered that one.
was this like for the master's in English or second language instruction, you do not need a GRE exam for that program.
But you need English as a second language. I mean, an ESL,
Yeah.
English proficiency test.
What else do we have?
Okay, we see your questions, guys. Please don't put them twice, because you can study sports management on campus at the graduate level.
Yes, it doesn't require GRE.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it has been waived, but it is required at the PhD level. In percentage, the GPA for a 2.0 in percentage, it just depends on your country. So just reach out to your recruiter and we'll let you know. So just email your recruiter and we'll let you know what the percentage for GPA requirement is. Or we can look at your transcripts and let you know how they look. So this is also a very good question. Is the international application the same as domestic application? No, they're not. So it asks you after your profile to start an application. So it gives you an option for an international student application, undergraduate domestic application, or graduate domestic application. Always, if you're a non-US citizen or a non-green card holder, fill out the international application, because it requires us to ask you guys questions about your current visa status and information that we have to have for your I-20. I mean, it does ask you the state on there because some territories do have states, I think. Right, and it's for our transfer students as well, but you can leave that blank. You don't have to fill that out. The top one above Alabama is a blank one, so you don't have to fill that out.
Yeah, actually, the part where it asks about for your state, it will be in your profile, which is the profile is the same for all students. So it doesn't matter if you're international or domestic student. For the profile, you just have to check where it says my address is outside the United States, and you can just leave the state section blank. That's not a mandatory field.
Yeah, but definitely, I mean, in the application, make sure you are filling out international application. I have my uncle's bank statement that ended December last year 2021. So December, January, February, March, April, May to June. So that's still valid. So just depending when you go to your visa interview, if you go to your visa interview in July, you would have to print out a new one, but for your I-20, it would still be valid. 6 months, that's what I'm counting on my fingers.
I already submitted my application, but I didn't pay till now. So you started your application. To submit it, you will have to enter the promo code that we will give you via email when we are done answering your questions.
Mm-hmm.
Congrats, students with known thesis space major also apply for GA. Yeah, that's not for sure.
Yeah, so as long as you're a graduate student, no matter if you're thesis or non-thesis, you can apply to be a graduate student as long as you are what's called unconditionally admitted. That means that you don't have to take any foundation classes, and that you are not in the English as a second language program, and you're not a fourth-year student. So that means that you don't have a 3-year degree. So what that means, you have to be admitted first, and you have to know your admission status before you apply to be a graduate student.
Can I submit my partial transcripts while waiting for my full transcript? The answer is yes. Yeah, you can apply with partial transcripts if you're currently taking classes right now. Of course, you don't have your grades yet. You can apply with the transcripts you have and provide your full set of transcripts whenever you have them available.
As long as you're in your last semester before you graduate. Now, if you are in your second year and you're trying to graduate in 4 years, and that doesn't work because we need your full transcripts eventually. But if you're in your last semester before you graduate, that's completely fine. If you're an undergraduate student, we will need or undergraduate student, we have to have a letter of good standing from your university saying when you will graduate and that you are in good standing from them. All right.
Sorry.
Oh, and from your high school if you're an undergraduate student.
How much IELTS score is required for I'm guessing biomedical science, maybe? If it's the same for all programs. If it is undergraduate, it's a 5.5 IELTS. If it is graduate, you need a 6.0. What are the MS programs? Master programs within GRE. There are many. For example, many programs don't have the requirement from the beginning, like sport management,
criminology, second language instruction. Yeah. Sociology is online but doesn't require it.
Counseling. But then other programs, for example, the computer science program, they do have a waiver for the fall, but they are reinstating the GRE for the spring 2023 semester. So yeah, it depends, really depends on the program.
They ask if the SAT is also an English proficiency requirement. It is not a requirement, but we can accept it and use the reading and writing section as an English proficiency test score. So you don't have to submit it, but we can use it. So
you need a 480 in the reading and writing part of the SAT to be considered English proficient.
I think Leo answered this already. Students can work up to 20 hours on campus while studying at Troy, but you cannot work off campus. If you are working on campus, you can be sent home and never to receive a visa again to the United States. So don't do that.
And we get to the end. 2015 IELTS, we answered this. That is too old. It has to be between the or in the last 2 years that you have to take it. It can't be older than 2 years.
Okay. I think we've answered the graduate student scholarships and we do accept Duolingo. And I think the last one, and I'll let Leo answer that, do we require a transcript evaluation?
Oh, okay. So I think Claire mentioned this before, but it depends. But usually we don't. We do an evaluation here in our office. We have evaluators like highly qualified to do an evaluation of international transcripts. If for some reason we cannot evaluate your transcripts, could be any reason. Maybe your transcripts are in a grading system that our evaluators are not trained on. We may require you to submit an evaluation like a WS evaluation, or any organization or any agency that does evaluations that is NACES approved or one of the NACES partners. But usually I would say 95% of the students, or even higher, between 95 and 97% of the students who apply to Troy do not have to submit one of these evaluations. We will do the evaluation here on campus. So it is rare, but it is not unheard of if we need an evaluation. And then what is the last one?
We've already answered this one about graduate scholarships and Duolingo scores. So what we're going to do is after this, we're going to actually tell you about some events that are on campus, or not on campus, about events coming up for Troy. And then we're going to end this as long as you guys don't have any other questions, but we will send you out this video and have you guys watch it if you have any other questions. We are also going to send out a video on how to apply, because it seems like we've got some questions about that in the chat, and so we want to make sure that that's clear before you guys finish up your applications and submit those in the next couple of days, and make sure you submit the right documents and things like that. And so it will also cover, I think we've gone over it there, our cost of attendance. So if you have any more questions about that, that is in the video that we'll send out, as well as our scholarship information. It is covered again in that video. So definitely watch that video. We'll send out following up with this. And then we'll also send out that promo code that I know you guys are so eager to get. So thank you for watching this, but we'll go over some of these events that we have coming up, and we want you guys to join us for those if you are interested.
Okay, so what we have here first, we have an ESL program. So, some of you maybe haven't submitted your English proficiency scores yet because you don't feel confident that your English is good enough. You can participate in our 4-week online English course. It will help you improve your English and maybe you feel more confident when you take that Duolingo or IELTS or TOEFL test. You can see the dates right there at the bottom left corner. You can start right in March, like the date, March is coming up in 2 weeks. Then we have a date in April, and then we have a date in June. And the cost is what you see here on the screen. If you take only one class, it is only $100 for the course. If you decide to take 2 classes, $175. So you're saving $25. So the more classes you take, the more you save. And again, this is an online program. You don't have to come to campus. It's only 4 weeks for each level, and it'll be taught by our ESL instructors.
We can send out some more information about this. It is about grammar. There is a English proficiency prep class. There's writing. There is an academic prep class as well. So there's lots of opportunities for you if you need to improve your English. I think there's a lot of people who mentioned that their English proficiency test score was expired. So this will just help you kind of get back into the groove of things if you need to improve your test scores. Or if you need just to improve your English before you get here on campus, before you are in the academic setting on campus. So we'll go to the next one. We've got a couple more events coming up.
Yeah, and also, as I'm sure you can read this in the screen, that if you need to meet with your professors, like do a virtual meeting face-to-face, you can do that too. The professors will be available to help you anytime.
Worldwide open house, and so in one of our tips we did mention kind of do your research. So this would be a great opportunity to learn more about Troy. So you can meet with professors, you can meet with alumni. There's a virtual tour. We also have a virtual tour available for you anytime, but this is just a 4-day event that's available for you to take part in to learn more about our campus and our events. And so we really just want you to be able to learn more about opportunities that are on campus. And so it is a virtual because we know that you can't make it here to be on campus. So we want you to be able to take part of this. It's completely free. So just take part of that. If you do miss out on the promo code this week from our webinar today, there is another promo code then, but we really do hope you take part of the promo code that we're going to be sending out today.
Yeah, so if you have any friends who may be interested in applying to Troy and they could make it to the webinar today and they're missing out on the promo code, they can easily attend the Worldwide Open House, get that promo code, and apply to Troy for free.
Yeah. Oh, and another tip, if you want to change programs or anything like that, you don't have to apply again. So just because you're getting another promo code, don't submit another application. Just contact us and let us know you want to change your program.
Yeah.
Just because you're getting multiple application promo codes, don't submit multiple applications, because that really does slow down the process for you.
I'm guessing that's the picture that the person.
Oh yeah, the other Nepali flag.
Yeah.
We see it now. We had so many pictures in here, we
Yeah.
weren't sure which one you were talking about. This is the other one that we mentioned in the tips, is application deadlines are very important. So we just want to remind you about these application deadlines. Our summer ESL deadline is coming up. The start date that we were reviewing applications is February 1st. So we're already reviewing those applications right now. The sooner you submit those for ESL, we're only reviewing ESL ones right now, starting March 1st. March 7th. I think we missed a date on there, but March 7th, we'll start reviewing our fall applications. And so make sure that you start submitting your applications, because starting March 7th, we'll start reviewing our fall applications, and the deadline for that is June 1st. And then our spring applications, we'll start reviewing those in September. And that just gives us time to solely process the ones that are coming up, to give those people time to start the visa process, because their visas are kind of coming up before the other ones. So make sure you submit those applications in time. And again, what we mentioned before, you have to submit your application, not just signature, but submit with the application payment or promo code, depending on what you use, and all your required documents, including official test scores, so we can process it and have the evaluators process it.
Well, we reached the end of our presentation. I see that we have a few more messages. So, okay. So thank you all for joining us. You see our information here on the screen. If you want to send us an email to your recruiter, to your country, I'm sure most of you are already in contact with one of us. And if you want our WhatsApp number, again, you can find it in our signature. The emails that we've sent you, each email has our signature, so you can see the WhatsApp number there and reach out to us via WhatsApp.
There's also on our signatures, I know for myself and Leo, there's a link to make a virtual meeting with us. So if you have questions that you want to meet with us virtually about, that you can set up those virtual meetings with us. And so we can discuss one-on-one with about your application, if that's easier for you. So whatever is best for you, WhatsApp, virtual meeting, or through email, whatever is best for you. We're here for you, and we're here to help you.
Okay, we have someone asking and I'm guessing this is the online program for ESL, if it replaces the IELTS. It does not, but as I said before, it can help you prepare for the IELTS. If if your English is not, if you feel like your English is not good enough, or if you're not confident with your English, that you'll be able to get the score that you need to be to pass the test and be considered English proficient for Troy, you can take take these classes and then take the IELTS, and you'll see an improvement in your English. I'm pretty sure. So, anything else? I think we answered all.
I think we answered all the questions. So, if you have anything else past today, we're going to send out the email. Watch that video, learn how to apply, and submit your applications. And we'll hope to see you here in August. So, that's it for us today. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.